Hi, Todd Ortscheid here with GTL Real Estate. In this week's video, I wanted to talk about the actual move-out process, how that goes step by step. So the first thing is, of course, notice has to be given to terminate the lease. So the tenant would have given that notice 2 months prior, unless they're on a month-to-month lease. Then it could be a little bit different in Florida, but generally it has to be 2 full calendar months. So the next thing that happens after that, about a month prior to the termination date of their lease, when they're expected to move out, about a month prior to that, a letter is going to go out from us to the tenant that really explains how the move-out process works. And the important part of that letter, the most important part, is it's going to talk about all the requirements for how to get the security deposit returned to the tenant. So, if you want to get that deposit back, you're going to want to review that list really thoroughly, make sure you comply with all of that. It should be mostly common sense, but you'd be amazed. Some people are really surprised when we show up at a property and they haven't cleaned the carpets and we say, your carpet's dirty, we're going to have to hold money out of that. Some people get surprised about that. So, one person's common sense is not another person's, so it's important to actually review that list line by line and make sure you're doing everything that's in there. And it's going to talk about things like carpet cleaning, making sure that if you've caused any damage to the walls or anything, make sure that's fixed before you move out, or any damage for that matter. Make sure you've replaced your furnace filters. Make sure your light bulbs are all changed, all that kind of stuff. Basically you want to make sure that the property is in at least as good a condition as what you accepted it as. So, that list is going to go line by line explaining all of that to you. So it's very important to review that and make sure you follow that before it gets to your move-out date. So, the other thing that's going to start happening at about that same time, maybe a little bit sooner, is we will put out a sign, a for lease sign or for sale, whatever the owner happens to be doing with that property that time, and put a lockbox on the door unless you already have a smart lock. In that case, we'll just activate that smart lock for use for showings. But if it doesn't have a smart lock, we'll put a lockbox on the door. Now, while you're still there, of course, we will notify you. We'll give you, what your lease says is we have to give you reasonable notice before showing the property, but we will start showing it. So it's very important you make sure you have all your valuables locked up and all that kind of stuff. It's not always us showing the property. Sometimes there'll be an agent from another brokerage. We're all in the multiple listing service, so agents from one brokerage can show another brokerage's properties. So, everybody's expected to, lock the doors, turn off the lights, all that kind of stuff, but I can't guarantee you that an agent from another broker is going to lock the door. So we always tell people, make sure you've got all your valuables put up and all that kind of stuff. And it's probably a good idea to return to the home a reasonable amount of time after the showing. So you can make sure that your house is locked up and all that kind of stuff. So that's just a disclaimer we always put on that. But we will always give you notice before we do those showings so you know exactly when they're going to happen, and we'll start showing them. Nobody will be let into your house without an agent. It might be an agent from another company, but they'll still have an agent there. So you don't have to worry about people just going in. On vacant houses, we have the self-showing lock boxes. Doesn't work that way when someone's living there. We only show it with an agent. So you don't have to worry about people just walking in, but we will give you notice and an agent will show someone the property. So keep that in mind. You are required to cooperate with those showings. So if you look in your lease, it says during that final 60 days of your lease, you have to cooperate with us showing that property. You have to let us put a sign in a lockbox there. So, I know sometimes it's an inconvenience. Unfortunately, that's, just, part of the reality of renting a house is the landlord has to find another tenant. So, we do have to be able to show it. So just keep that in mind. If you deny us access to the property to show it to potential tenants, every time you do that, your lease says there's a $50 liquidated damages charge for that. So you don't want to deny us access to the property. If we give you reasonable notice and we say we're going to be bringing a prospective tenant by to view it, cooperate with that. Your lease requires that. It's just the reasonable, right thing to do. The landlord does have a right to get his property rented out after you've provided notice. So please cooperate with that so we can avoid those fees and any of those sorts of problem situations. Next thing you're going to want to do is schedule your inspection. So when you get that letter that explains to you how the move-out process works, it's going to have the name and phone number of the leasing agent who's going to do your move-out inspection. So call up that agent, schedule your move-out inspection. Keep in mind, you can't do it after the last date of your lease. So if your lease terminates on December 31st, you can't schedule your move-out inspection for January 1st. You have to be out of the property before the end of the day on the last day of your lease. And you're going to need to schedule that inspection during business hours. So make sure you call and get that scheduled ahead of time so you get that all set up. When it comes time for that move-out inspection, the agent will show up. You'll walk through the property with the agent. They'll take the original move-in inspection where they wrote down the condition of the property when you moved in, and they'll basically just compare everything on move-out to how it was when you moved in. And they'll also check to make sure that you've turned in all your keys, you've turned in any garage door openers, key fobs, any of that kind of stuff that goes with the house. They'll make sure that you have changed the HVAC filter. They're going to go through all those things and check all of that it lists on that move-out inspection letter. And then they'll fill out that inspection. Anything that you're charged for, they'll make an estimate. The law requires them to make an estimate. So it won't be the exact amount, but an estimate will be put in of what you're being charged for that damage or whatever it is to the property. Then you'll sign that, or if you don't want to sign that, then you'll have an option to send in a dispute. But the expectation is you'll sign that, and then we'll process that afterwards. So the way that's processed is after we complete that inspection, within 3 days, 3 business or banking days, we will prepare the move-out statement that lists everything that you are being charged for. We'll send that to you. You'll get an email, and we'll also send it in the regular mail to whatever forwarding address you've provided us. So please provide that forwarding address on the move-out inspection. We'll send that to you. You can review it, and then if you have any disputes on that, we provide you a form in that email. You can click on that link, fill out the form. You can submit evidence if you've got pictures or receipts or anything else that you think goes with that dispute. You can submit that, and then we will review that. We'll have a committee of people here who will take a look at that and review your evidence. And if you've got a valid reason for disputing it, then we'll take that charge off of your move-out statement. But I mean, if it's just something that was damaged, that wasn't damaged when you moved in, obviously you will have to be charged for that. But I mean, if you've got records that show, here's a photo from the day I moved in that shows it was already damaged, we'll certainly look at that, and that's a different story. So you'll get the opportunity to dispute those charges if you think they're incorrect. And then within 30 days of your move-out date, we will send your refund check if you're getting a refund. So we try to do it quicker than that. But generally, the law gives us up to a month to send that out. It does take time to process all the paperwork and all of that, so it can take that long. Now, some of you will be on a newer lease that will have an option there where you can request to expedite that check within a week. So take a look at your lease. There's a fee for that. See what the fee might be. And if you want to request that, tell the agent, the leasing agent, when you're doing your move out, tell them you want to pay the fee to expedite your security deposit return, and we can do that. They'll just take the fee out of your deposit and return the rest to you. So not all of the leases have that. Most of the newer ones do. But just check your lease under the security deposit language and see if it gives you that option. Otherwise, generally it takes us a couple of weeks to get them out. So that's about what you can expect, but it could be up to 30 days. So just keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is if there were charges on your move out that exceed the amount of your security deposit. So if you owe money on move out, we give you 7 days to make payment on that. So when we send that statement to you, that final statement that we send you within the few days of move out, it's going to tell you have 7 days to make payment on this, to pay it in full, or to set up a payment plan. Now, we will do reasonable payment plans. If you've got $1,500 in damages that you need to pay when you move out, we'll set up a payment plan to let you do that over a few months if you have a need for that. But that has to be set up within 7 days. If we get to the end of that 7-day period and you haven't contacted us to set up a payment plan, or you haven't paid your balance, then we send that off to a collection agency. And once it goes to the collection agency, it's going to damage your credit. It's going to make it really hard for you to buy a car, get a mortgage, get a credit card, all that kind of stuff. So you don't want that to happen. You want to pay your balance or set up a payment plan right away. And of course, payment plans have to be mutually agreeable. So if you want to pay it over a period of 2 years, we're probably going to tell you, no, we can't do that. The owner needs to get their money quicker than that. So we'll try to work something out with you, but it's got to be reasonable, and it's really up to us whether that payment plan is going to work or not. If we say no, I'm sorry, the 2 years you want, that's not going to cut it. Then you got to pay your balance. Otherwise, we'll have to send that off to the debt collector. So we'll try to work with you as best we can, but we can't guarantee it if you're just requesting something that's going to take too long. So that's basically the move out process. If you have any questions about how any of that works, send us an email at support@gtlrealestate.com. We'll be happy to answer those questions. Thanks.